Hello and welcome to Living is Giving. My name is Mark Cron.
And I'm Joanne Crobot.
And we are excited to be here today with one of our guest speakers. And just as a preempt, if you haven't become familiar with our program yet, it's Living is Giving is really just a way of living life and living a life of contribution, a life of growth so that we give back beyond ourselves and really make a difference in the world. And Joanne, I've known for a number of years. We met in the Tony Robbins environment, actually. And we're just really excited because Joanne took up the Basket Brigade here in Canada out of Toronto and has since 1993 been feeding families who need help for, almost, I think that's 30 years if I do the math right. So, it's just always a pleasure to be here and be part of making a difference in the world and in people's lives. So thank you, Joanne, for the work you do. And I'll pass it over to you to introduce our guest.
Well, thanks, Mark. So I'm so excited to introduce my friend Tara Myshrall. So whether it's climbing Mount Everest, speaking to a room of influential executives, or literally jumping out of a plane, Tara is a speaker who inspires everyone she meets. Powerhouse Tara calls her audience to rise up and slay the insecurities that stand in the way of authentic power. Please welcome Tara Myshrall. Hi, Tara.
Hi, Joanne, and hi, Mark.
Hi, Tara.
Hi, everyone at home. Thanks for having me.
So excited that you're here. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Absolutely. I mean, with that introduction, there's not a lot to say except for I am a woman living here in Toronto. I have a 19-year-old son, a little 6-month-old puppy, and I love giving back. I think that the world is all about growing and contributing. And if we want to continue to grow as people, it really involves connecting into the people around us and making sure that it's about all of us being great, not just the individual. I work full-time in a corporate role for TIPCO, managing large OEM partnerships throughout North America, and I love it. It's a wonderful rush of a job. But I also in my free time and on the side, have another speaking business where I do coaching and speaking predominantly for women. My goal is to help women reclaim their power, stop contorting and conforming themselves to what they think they need to be, and step into a full expression of themselves. And that's really me in a quick nutshell.
But you've done so much, and so many wonderful things have happened to you, and so many maybe people would call not so wonderful things happen to you, but it's incredible how you've come through the challenges. What's one of your distinctions to get us through things that might be challenging in life?
It's a great question. And I think it really starts with equanimity, like understanding that life is about ebb and flow, and we love the sunshine. I am a sun worshiper, but I wouldn't love it as much if I didn't have rainy days. And, that's a small little example of the things that arise in our life that can debilitate us and stop us from being the reflection of what we're meant to be. But I think true resilience is learning from the difficult moments and also savoring the phenomenal moments, right? Because so often we can rush through life and not even realize the blessings that are in front of us. So I start every day with gratitude. I am thankful for whatever I have, even if it's just the breath that I'm bringing in to bring me in this place in this time. And then that helps when difficult things arise along the way. So yes, it was really tough when I had a stroke last year. And yes, this COVID shutting us down has been really difficult for many of us. But how can we rise above that? What can we learn from that? How can we pick ourselves up and dust ourselves off? And it's truly those challenging moments that push us to see our true potential. It's just like building a muscle. They have to tear before they grow. Well, we have to go through these difficult things in life before we can truly see what we've got inside to bring forward into the world.
I think that's great. I always think the contrast. You might think it's an awful day, but it might actually be a good day, depending on your focus and your perception of the events, right?
Mindset is so critical, Joanne. That's right.
It is, it is. And so tell us a little about your involvement with Basket Brigade Canada, because you've really helped a lot in the last, gosh, what, 10 something years that we've known each other?
Yeah, I can't believe it's been over 10 years. I remember walking into my first basket brigade and I was bundling up vegetables, and the process mind of mine was like, how can I make this more efficient? And, and I just jumped in and started changing the way we were doing things. And Joanne, you were such a lovely soul. Instead of, being cross with me, you just were so inviting. You were like, thanks, you're my team lead now. And I recall asking you out for lunch because I was like, you're such a beautiful expression of a person and you're doing so much. I just needed to get to know you better. And I also wanted to be involved in the Basket Brigade because, it's not always easy for people to give to charities because sometimes they're not sure where the dollars and cents go. And I felt so good about knowing that every dollar and every cent is buying food and that I can see where it's going and I can go deliver it to local community people. And I could see that impact it was having on them. And so I just became addicted. And every year I wanted to fill up my car and go deliver groceries. And if I could help fundraise or gain money to make a difference, I was all in that because I think food is such a critical component. It brings people together, it nourishes our body, and especially the good food that we're delivering, fruits and vegetables, it makes an impact. And I'm so glad and honored that you allowed me to participate all these years.
Well, it's so much fun, and you bring your son out. So I've seen him grow. It becomes such a family, opportunity for just love and happiness, which is what we say we deliver, right? Which is so great. And I remember we met at Spring Rolls near Square One at that restaurant across the street. It was so much fun. And you've helped so much, and you've gotten your company involved, and people have donated. And I said, I need help with turkeys. And you're like, how many? I'm going to get 50, whatever. Okay, I'm going to go get them. We're 20 this year. You need 20. Okay, I'm going to go get 20 turkeys. And off you go to the grocery store and hold your card out into your car. It's amazing. So you're always my backup. There's a few people that I have as backup. It's like, I need this quick.
It's my pleasure and my honor. And I know all that hard work you've been doing is making a difference in our community. I've brought you names. I've added people to our list. I've seen the difference it's made in their lives. And, the other really powerful thing working with the Basket Brigade that came up for me was to deliver without judgment. And that was wonderful because you could roll up to a house and that house could be larger than my home. And, all of your judgy cap goes on and you start making up stories in your mind. And really, you have no idea what that person's going through. And I was so appreciative of being able to also teach that lesson to my son when we were out delivering and saying, when you give something, don't expect even a thank you because maybe they don't know how to say thank you. Maybe they're overwhelmed with emotion. Maybe they are, feeling prideful. It doesn't matter. You give this food for love and nourishment of them, and that's it. And that is, it was such a great lesson for him to learn. And it's such a great thing for us as we give, right? Anything you give, just give without ties. And, not to go on with love, but even with the love, right? Just give it and don't expect anything in return. So your Basket Brigade helped me really come to terms with that all those years ago.
That's great. Yeah. So go ahead, Mark.
Well, I really love what you were saying, how food is so important, how it brings us together. Not only is it part of what we need for life, like breath, water, food, pretty much in that order, and we're in a world that has so much abundance, so much resourcefulness, so much that nobody should really be going without. And when you're talking about, I love the non-judgment piece you say there too, because some people are also not good at receiving. Maybe they're having a hard time. And, so there's this great symbiosis I see happening in the giving, in the receiving, in the building of community around food. And how important it is that when we do give, even if we think we may not have a lot to give, even if it's our time, a smile, some kind words, a dime on a dollar, it creates this, subconscious belief or connection, knowing that there's always enough. It's okay. It's like when you're kind of short, give more than what you think you normally would, could, or think you can, because I know in my experience, all of a sudden something comes, the universe delivers something else on the other side. It's this reciprocity that happens, and it's not always money. It can be people, it could be experiences, it could be anything, right? Giving and receiving is not always a money-based transaction. And that's one thing that I think is really important when it comes down to contribution, that we don't get caught up, well, I don't have the money. Well, do you have time?
Right.
Right? Do you have clothes? Do you have food? We see so much food go to waste in our society. It blows my mind that people are still going hungry.
Yeah.
It's unfathomable with the amount of wisdom that we have in the world with some of the brilliant minds. It doesn't make sense.
Well, you really hit the nail on the head, because giving is this openness and this willingness, and it doesn't have to be money, and just giving of time, giving of caring, and this idea that we're all interconnected, right? That I like to tell my students, we're all stardust. We are all made of the exact same matter. So we have been trained and conditioned to think about what we lack, to think about how we're different, to think about right and wrong. If we just remove some of those things and understand that we are all connected, that we are all the same stardust, then we would want to give of everything we have and of anything we have. And it's that release and that giving that welcomes more abundance into our life. It's when we confine and hold on to something that we have lack and scarcity. So I really love how you brought that to the forefront. Yes, give of even just a hello, a warm smile, a hug, a warm wishes, an email. There's actually been studies that have been done about resilience and how people manage resilience. And one of the big things that these studies have found is that we don't often notice the little things when we're talking about receiving. However, it's those little daily impacts that have the largest impact on our life. So meaning that little note from the coworker, that little smile from the stranger, that person holding the door, it's that we actually take in and makes us feel better about ourselves and makes us more resilient for those difficult times that Joanne was talking about earlier.
Oh,
That's
absolutely.
great.
And one thing I'd like to add to that is we need that now in these COVID days more than ever before. With this social distancing for 6 feet, which is a physical thing, which I don't understand why it's not physical distancing, but this social aspect where people are becoming separated in different beliefs of what's happening in the world and everything else, kind words, being warm and open can go a long way for people because, thank God I don't live alone. And I could just imagine what it would be like for those people who live alone, right? So we can give in a way just in our spirit, right?
And you can feel it. You don't have to even be face to face. Like even right now, I can feel your energy. You guys are emulating such great positivity. I just want more of it. And
So are you, Tara.
Yeah, exactly.
But I just want more of that. So we could just give that to those people who are out there and they're feeling alone and mental health is at an all-time high. People are experiencing great anxiety and they don't understand everything that's happening. Like here in Canada and Ontario, we are on lockdown. Again, it's been 2 years of this. So, it can be frustrating. It can push us to our wits' ends. And we have to recognize if we're feeling it, others are feeling it. So instead of getting stuck in it, how can we help lift that? And this upcoming event, May 29th, I'm super excited about it because that's exactly what you guys are doing. You're bringing people to the table to contribute and to give back and to give us some ideas on how we can kind of pull ourselves out of the darkness many of us are in.
Well,
That's
and
true.
that's the personal growth element too. It's like if we take a look at our frustration or our challenges, how do we normally meet them? Some people are just problem solvers and that's just what they do and they just bulldoze through everything and people go, well, how'd they do that? And then some other people you'd think they've got it all going on. They don't take the action, so if we can inspire people to always continue to learn and grow, like you said, you start every day with gratitude. What a way to start your day, being grateful for just your feet hitting the ground and being alive on this planet. Who cares about money, stat, any of those things? I got life, right? In this physical body, on this plane, in this time. And to be grateful for that really starts taking away the mindset of like what you were talking about, lack and hanging on to things. Going, oh my God, I got to hang on to this because I don't know,
That scarcity mindset.
When we change our focus, everything changes in life. So as you were both talking, that I thought of, our families that we deliver to at Basket Brigade Canada, sometimes they want to give back. And they may give us a handwritten card. We got one at Easter from a couple. And when the driver showed me, she brought it to me. We just both teared up, oh my God, it's so touching. Or we get an email or something. And some of them want to give back. So if they have a car, they can come and help out. Or some of them have been driving for a number of years, actually, so why they deliver, they might deliver to 5 other families, but we'll give them a basket as well. And they'll receive something. But I've seen, quite a few of them sorting and packing, and they're so happy to be there because they can do something. So there is no financial contribution, but it's their heart and their love and their soul and their energy. And, we need all hands on deck, sometimes, especially this past March when we had mountains of food. Oh my God. And, so we needed everyone there, and it was okay. We were the essential workers, thank goodness. So we were very busy, and everybody was very happy to give no matter what they did. And then we got the community involved. We got police officers from different divisions involved. We've got the firefighters came in with fire chiefs and things to help load our trucks. And the police were loading our trucks, and they were also offloading our trucks. So different divisions came at different times of day, and we went.
That was great. I work with Peel Police. They're one of my clients, and I showed up to unload trucks, and here's all these Peel Police officers. It was phenomenal for me to see my 2 lives merging together there. But something you said, Joanne, that I really also want to say is great about the Basket Brigade. We meet people where they are, and that's so important, because just because you give someone food or money or something they need, it doesn't make you better or worse or anything. We are still at the same level, regardless of what we financially have or the things we've obtained in our life. And that really shows through in the brigade. And that's why people, even after they've been helped off their feet, I think come back and they want to give back, because they realize that it was just, no problem. It's like giving something to your mom or your sister or your friend, right? I got you. You never make that person feel less than because they need your help. And we don't at the brigade. So I also want to give you credit for creating that culture.
Thank you. Yeah, we're all equal. We see that we're all equal. That's why we say we deliver love and happiness, because we're delivering with love and a smile, and the person's receiving it. And it's not like a condescending thing. It's totally equal. We're just giving you the food.
Yeah, if it becomes condescending, that defeats the purpose, right? This isn't it's not a status game by any stretch. And another thing you said, Joanna, and it came up in one of our conversations this week as well, is you never know the difference in a life. It's one thing to feed someone and get them through a day or a week or what it might be, but to inspire someone to see something different. This is how it all came about. Here we are having this conversation for something that happened 50 years ago to Tony Robbins, right? We're talking about Basket Brigade, and he's now fed millions of people, and it's the ripple effect. From that, Joanne started Basket Brigade Canada. From that one delivery when Tony was poor and broke and 11 years old, I think it was, as he tells the story, what he did and the impact it made on him. We just never know the impact that we're going to have on a person and how it's going to change their life, not just from a feeding and food perspective, but from a, holy smoke, somebody actually cares. I'm gonna do something to return this favor and pay it forward. And it's not like anybody's asking for that in return, because we're giving selflessly, but it inspires people to realize, oh, I am worthy and I can help other people too when I have the means.
Mhm.
And, it's that sort of thing. You just don't know. You might help somebody out on the street. He might become the next, Elon Musk or Richard Branson. Who knows? Who
Yeah.
knows? You don't know. And that's the beauty of, the ripple effect and just giving selflessly because it makes a difference. And we don't always know. You'll not always be around to see that, right?
And you have to let go of that desire to see it, because I
Mhm.
remember one of the brigades, my son and I pulled up to an apartment building and the mom wasn't home, and we pressed the buzzer and this little boy came downstairs. He must have been maybe 11 years old. And of course, like with the basket brigade, we have a big bucket of vegetables and we have dry goods and we have a 10-pound to 20-pound turkey. There's no way he could take this upstairs. So my son and I helped him bring it upstairs. And I said, can I bring it in and put it in the fridge? Because there's perishable items. And he let me, and I opened the fridge door and his little brother was there. He was about 5. And as we're packing everything into the fridge had nothing but a bottle of condiments like ketchup and some Tang orange juice. I'll never forget. And so we packed it all up and we were about to leave. And they said, can you stay for dinner? Like, are you going to stay for dinner? And we're like, no, honey, this is all for you. And they're like, what do you mean it's all for us? Like, no, please stay for dinner. And then one of the boys had like tears in his eyes and we got in our car and my son looked at me. He's like, oh my God, Mom, that was amazing. And then the mom called me and she's started crying and she's like, God bless you. We've never had so much food since we've moved to Canada. And I was like, you're welcome. And it made us feel so great. But my point of this story is that the very next delivery that we did, the person received all of the goods. They lived in a great house and they said, thank you. And that was it. And my son was like, oh, Mom, they're so unappreciative. And I was like, no, honey, it's not about how much they appreciate it. They both need it equally. They're both on the list for a reason. You just have to give it and be thankful that you had an opportunity to give, right? And so I just take this opportunity to point that story out because they were such different experiences. And I had to learn not to tie myself to the thank you or to the feeling like I made impact. It has to all go back to contribution, Mark, like you said earlier. It's about contributing. And once we contribute, we feel more whole as a person. Because if we're just receiving and we're not giving, it's not a complete cycle, right?
Absolutely. And just that being said is, just a thought for people out there is, are you a good receiver?
Mm.
Right? Some people aren't great receivers. Like, just in the story with your son, it's on a big, beautiful house, everything else. They're on that list for a reason. The first thing that comes up in my head is what's happened in their life, their pride, because you got, money, a house, maybe a nice car, and you can't afford to feed yourself and your family. You're going to have a pride issue. So it may be a different thing. So it's
Mm-hmm.
really seeking to understand where people are at. And again,
Oh,
that
so good.
non-judgment is one of the biggest things I learned in my personal development journey. And it was a big light bulb for me when it's like, non-judgment, right?
Deep
Accept, seek to
observe.
understand. And, it changes everything for sure. And I wanted to point out too, and just not to take the subject off Basket Brigade because I think it's awesome, but we're also with the Living is Giving is event is we're here to support Operation Underground Railroad. There's been a lot of stuff in the news, especially this past year, going on with the human trafficking, sex slavery, and things of that nature. And it's something that we wanted to bring to people's awareness as well, because not everybody's heard of it or even believes this stuff's happening to the degree that it is. And there's just a really worthy organization that goes in and rescues these kids all over the world from human trafficking, as well as we're also supporting the Pachamama Alliance. And they're really born out of an invitation from the Arcor people to work in partnership to preserve their land and culture while bringing forth, a worldview that honors and sustains life for them. And that's one of our sponsored charities through John Gray. He introduced us to him as one of his things that he likes to support. So we're there supporting them as well, because it's so important when you take a look throughout the world, you know, the indigenous people all over the world, you know, they've had their lands stolen from them. They've been, you know, abused so much that we need to really bring back an understanding and a reappropriation of their lands, their culture, and things of that nature. So I'm really happy to be part of, you know, focusing on that
Yes, Mark.
organization as well.
And I just I had a call with one of my women spotlights, Becky Netherly, just last week on this, and that same topic came up. And it's really also important to take that same thing we talked about Basket Brigade of see people as whole and complete where they are, right? And the Native population and First Nations, Indigenous people are the same, right? We need to see them and view them as whole and complete. And yes, there's been so many wrongdoings. So how do we start to set that right? And the first thing is education. Educate yourself on the truth of the reality of the land you live on. Educate yourself on why people are the way they are. Empathize and understand that there is a reason, and then meet them as whole and complete. They don't need a great savior to come in. They just need to be recognized for the beautiful, nurturing, loving people that they are. So thank you for bringing that up. And with the underground railway, absolutely, such a huge cause. I mean, I have many people in my circle who have been in some way sexually assaulted. And I do know I've got some people that I've worked with that have been actually survivors of being trafficked.
Perfect.
You know what I'm saying? And this is happening. And again, it's the refusal to open your eyes and understand that this is going on in our world. It is it's almost like if we can just step out of self for a moment and just look at what's taking place in our world, we can make a difference. So such important charities. And I'm so honored to be part of raising some funding to help all three do the amazing work that they're doing today.
That's great. Thank you so much for doing that. There's even going to be a movie on Operation Underground Railroad that I think Jim Cassavetes is starring in. So it's a big production. It's incredible. They've been around since 1993, like Basket Brigade has as well. So
Great.
it's incredible. They go undercover and they rescue the children and arrest people and with the local governments, and such a worthy cause. So I'm so proud to be able to support them in any way. I think all charities need to be supported really well. And, we deliver to Indigenous families at Basket Brigade Canada. We deliver to military that are serving and the veterans who are the retired people in the military. And we're so honored to do that as well, because we want to honor everybody. We want to honor all the Indigenous people. We want to honor all of our military serving our country, and any country, really. I can't imagine going to war for your country. It just seems so incredible. What a shift, And they come back and they need support and they need help, and we're there to do that. And we do a lot of single moms as well. A lot of moms struggling, whether it's abusive relationships or, non-existent relationships or whatever. And they may have like 1 to 10 children and they're alone, or sometimes they have a partner too. They have a husband or someone there to help them. Thank goodness, because they have a lot of children. And then we do a lot of seniors as well. We help a lot of seniors, which is, a growing population. So we need to, just be there for everybody. And we have some newcomers as well. And some people that are just, may have moved from different countries or different cities and they need some help, or people that actually, like we were saying before, that they may be, quote, they look like they're very wealthy, but they live in a nice house and everything, but they don't have any money and they need some help. So, or the husband's in jail or there's a restraining order or something like that. And the mom and the children are in this beautiful home, but they won't be staying there much longer, unfortunately. So we're there to support them as much as we can. And hopefully maybe one day we'll do other programs, besides food. So right now it's food, but that's an essential thing for all of us, right? Air, food, water.
Well, maybe we start a some sort of a personal development workshop, introductory level to some really simple fundamental tools that I think all people really need to understand. And we all know them. You mentioned one earlier, Joanne, that was focus. One is our physiology, and our how we use our body, our biochemistry, all of those things, and then language, meaning, and story. It's some powerful, you get those three things working for you in a conscious way, life changes that fast.
I've been registering a lot of our families for the event because I wanted to offer free tickets, because I thought, no, you don't have to spend $5,000 or come for free and then be sold something. So I really wanted these families to appreciate just, learning some things. And I said, get your children to watch. You've got teenagers or younger kids. Please it will be a family show. And please have them watch and have them send it out to their friends. On social media. They're all good at social media, these young kids. So get them on there. People in other countries are registering as well. So, and when I speak to the families about registering, they don't always know who I am. So I say, it's Joanne from Basket Brigade Canada, and they're like, who? And I said, we delivered some food to you. They're like, oh, thank you. And some of them are tearing up, and some of them like, oh, there's so much food. And one lady said, I just finished that large bag of flour, today. And there was like 10 kilos of flour. It's a big bag. So she said she started making bread for her families with the flour, which is so exciting. And one lady said, I've got some cereal still left. I've got some bread in the freezer. And someone says, I'm going to have, the chicken today. And it's so, it's real, this is like real life for people. And we help make that happen. So it's a good feeling.
Well, and it's a great idea to invite them out to the event. And I love, Mark, as you said, like personal development. Personal development has, it's sometimes taken a bad rap, right? It's like, everything is just being positive and the power of positivity and, the self-help industry. But personal development is really about heightening your consciousness. It's really about knowing yourself fully and knowing others around you. And the more you know yourself, the more you can open yourself up to know others in all areas of yourself, the light and the dark, the good and the perceived bad, without judgment. And if we can give ourselves that type of self-love, then we can offer it externally and we can contribute to the world in a more meaningful way. So if you view it through that lens, who doesn't want to work on themselves a little bit, right? Understand themselves, heighten their consciousness, and be able to deliver love and positive vibrations to those around them. So I'm down. If you want to do it, I'm in. I'll give my time for free to help anybody who's interested in stepping up their game, for sure.
That's awesome. Thank you. We really want to create a positive, happy, fun day. We might even do some dancing. We'll see, get some music going. We really want to be happy because I don't think the world's very happy right now. And I think we need a better focus. We need to change our physiology, right? Which we'll talk about at the event. And I really want people to do that. And they're so happy when I say that, I said, we really need something to kind of pick us up and smile again. And they're so looking forward to it. So, and they're sending it out to their friends.
I read last week that we are the unhappiest we've been since the 60s, like, during the Vietnam War and all of that. And we are the most unhappy right now as a collective. And that is so surprising to me with everything we have available to us in the world. But it's also not surprising in a way because, as you said earlier, Mark, with the social distancing, we are social beings. We are not meant to be alone. We are meant to be connected. We are meant to be with one another. So if we are so disconnected as a collective, then of course we're going to feel down and unhappy. So I'm looking forward to this day where we can just bring everyone together again.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, Tara, one thing I want to share is the impact that these interactive live virtual events actually have been having in the world in the past year. Some people will be like, oh, Zoom fatigue. Well, yeah, it is a real thing, but there's ways to negate like all things. But it's, when you turn your camera on, when you engage in the chat, when people see you smile and participate, it creates that community. And if you think about it, if we can connect digitally, wirelessly, like this, we don't even have to have our computer hooked up to the old cable. I always do because, we're broadcasting. But if we can do that with technology, we can do that with what I call the internet, our own personal energy, that when we use that in a consciously, um, the word slipped my mind, but just, conscious connection, and we're all in the same vibe, then it creates connection. I've seen it with meditations. I've seen it with ceremonies. I've seen it with music. I've seen it for 4-day, 30,000 people events. It works. And not that it's not about fear or anything, but we have to get used to this new way that the world's working. And what really excites me about it, even when things open up again, it's not going away. I love it that we can do events and bring in people from all over the world, and they can have an experience that affects and changes their life. And to me, sometimes, we've had small events that has 6, 7 people in it. But I'm here in Vancouver, and next thing you know, there's somebody from Honolulu, someone from India, someone from Ireland. They're from all over the world. That thrills me to no end, to know that we're reaching out and making a difference with people we couldn't necessarily reach before. And that's one of the joys that I always want to encourage and inspire people to not be afraid of the technology, but to find ways to use it in a good way in balance in your life, so that we can be physically distanced by thousands of miles, but we can be socially tight and close. And that's what we need more now, is community than ever before. Whether we agree, disagree, on the same page on what's going on in the world today, because there's division there, but we have to come in at that core human beingness of our sameness, and just respect that. And like you were saying earlier, is that non-judgment, right?
Absolutely. So well said, Mark.
I'm so excited. I can't wait for the May 29th event.
Yeah, it's going to be great. Yeah, we got some fun things going on, working on a new dashboard, which I'm really happy for people to see. We have a little gamification and point system. We're going to have prizes and some different stuff like that going on. So yeah, it's going to be an exciting time. And it's about growth for us too, because we're all learning new things as we transform into, new ways of doing things to create some really exciting and impactful experiences for people. So I'm really excited about that.
They're really connecting on a different level. So like Mark and I have done some large events and on Zoom, and we've seen the connection. It really does create it, because you're seeing the people in their home. You're seeing their dog or their children or, their spouse. It's so exciting, and they're seeing you. And you wouldn't normally, at a live event, you would never see, a couple of 100 people and really connect with them. You might see them at a distance, but here you can wave at them and smile at them. And it's really interesting. It actually is quite intimate. So.
Speaking of dog, he starts whining.
On cue. Well, this is amazing. So I'm so looking forward to it. We've got some other great speakers too. We've got John Gray and Udo Erasmus, and we've got Jacek Shivik. We've got Natasha from Happy Planet, and Mark and I will be there as well. So it's going to be an incredible day. So thank you, Tara, so much for your time today.
Thank you.
It's my pleasure and honor. Thank you. And I'll see you all on May 29th.
That's great. Thank you so much.